Good morning, everyone. Welcome to week 3. It's Monday and it's time to start our writing lessons for the week. Just as I mentioned last week, we're continuing our work on narratives, but today we're going to be looking at that first step on our story plan, the sizzling starts. Our learning intention today is we are learning how to create sizzling starts in narratives. Our success criteria: I can understand why authors use sizzling starts to begin a narrative, identify a boring beginning, identify sizzling starts in films, and write a sizzling start to match a picture. Before we start, I just want to go back and review what we know about the structure of a narrative. A narrative always has 3 main parts: the orientation, which is the beginning, and that tells the reader who's in the story, when and where does the story happen. Then comes the really good part, complication. This is the really interesting part. And in the complication, they tell the reader what the problem is and what events lead up to the solution. And then finally, the reader is told the resolution, how the problem is solved. Now, last week I introduced you to the story graph. You can see up the top we've got the orientation, complication and series events and resolution. But now I've broken it down into parts. So if you look in the background, here's my mountain. I'm gradually building it up to write my narrative. And step number 1 is the sizzling start. Step number 2 is the backfill. It's when you're going to tell the who, the when and the where. Then you've got your complication, which is broken up into 3 parts: the pebble, rock and boulder. Number 6 is the exciting ending, and then the number 7 is the character wrap up. You're going to tell the reader what the character is going to do after the problem solved. But today we're going to look at our beginning on step number 1, the sizzling start. So what is a sizzling start? The beginning of a story is just like when you first meet someone. It's extremely important. It's the author's job to create an opening that's entertaining and interesting enough to make the reader want to read the rest of the story. The purpose of a sizzling start is to hook the reader's attention in just 7 seconds to make them want to read more. Now, 7 seconds isn't very long at all, so you're really going to have to start with a great beginning. You start where the action is, or the moment of change, when things are far more interesting. So to learn a little bit more about a sizzling start, I want you to watch this video. You can see I've got the link address there you can type in. I've also got the link in your week 3 writing folder that you can just click on and it will take you straight to the video. So now you know what sizzling starts are. I'm going to go back and show you the stories that we've been looking at so far on this topic about narratives. We're going to look at their beginnings. Do you think they're sizzling starts or are they boring starts? The first one we looked at was the 3 Little Pigs. Once upon a time in a quiet little town, there lived 3 little pigs. One day, the pigs decided it was time to leave their mother's home. Off they went to build homes of their own. Was that a sizzling start? The next story we looked at was Little Red Riding Hood. Once upon a time there lived a little girl called Little Red Riding Hood. She wore a beautiful red cape that her grandmother had made for her. One day her mother said, "Come here, Little Red Riding Hood. Your gran is not very well. I would like you to take this bread and cheese to her, but remember to stay on the path." Is that a sizzling start? Is that going to grab your attention? And the final story was Jack and the Beanstalk. Once upon a time there was a boy called Jack. He lived with his mother. They were very poor. All they had was a cow. One morning Jack's mother told Jack to take their cow to the market to sell her. On the way Jack met a man. He gave Jack some magic beans for the cow. That's a little bit better because I'm interested about the magic beans. But would you call these fairy tales, do they start with a sizzling start? Not really. I think they're really boring. For example, once upon a time. How many times have we heard that? Or one day or one morning. So they're not really sizzling starts. Those three stories really did have a boring beginning. Most fairy tales do start with once upon a time, and maybe that was okay years ago, but nowadays, if you read books, the authors start using these sizzling starts. They really want to capture your attention. So I went back and I started writing down all the boring story beginnings that I could think of. And I came up with these. One sunny day, one rainy afternoon, one dark night. This story is about, hi, my name is, I woke up, got dressed, had breakfast, then last Saturday, or don't forget, on the weekend. I could have put that one on. In fact, I'm going to put all these beginnings and put them on a chart, and I'm going to put them up in our classroom. So why were they boring story beginnings? What was the problem? Firstly, none of these story beginnings draw the reader into the story. None of them give you a hint of what's to come and make you wonder what's going to happen next. They are boring. So if I want to write a sizzling start, where do I begin? To create a sizzling start, you do not start at the very beginning of the story where nothing much is happening. Instead, you begin with the action or the moment of change to immediately engage the reader's interest and make them want to read more. For example, you begin when the volcano is starts to exploding. Then, as the action unfolds, you can add backfill to explain who's there and why. So now I'm going to give you two examples of beginnings for the same story. One's a boring beginning and the other one is a sizzling start. I got up really early and got dressed and ate pancakes for breakfast. They were really great. Then we walked to the train station. We were going to the football match. We went to the match every week on the train. Pretty boring, isn't it? Let's try that again with a sizzling start. Goal! The crowds cheered loudly. Dad and I always went to the football, but our team didn't usually win. Today they were winning and I was cheering louder than anyone. Can you see the difference? I know which one I'd rather start my story with. Now, filmmakers always use sizzling starts in movies. And I'm going to show you two really good examples. One's in Toy Story 1 and Despicable Me, The Great Pyramid Has Been Stolen. So you can see I've got the YouTube addresses there you can type in, or you can click the links in your writing folder for week 3. Now, as you're watching these clips, I want you to think about these questions. Why does it make you want to watch more? Was it interesting? Why or why not? How was it a sizzling start? And what did the filmmakers do to gain your attention? So let's compare the difference between sizzling starts and fizzling starts that are a little bit boring. Sizzling starts, they're funny and exciting. They make me want to keep watching. They've got lots of action. And they make me wonder what's going to happen. But fizzling starts, they're slow. They're boring. They're too long. And I don't know what's happening. It doesn't really give me an idea of what's going to happen in the story. So your writing task today, boys and girls, today we're going to start a story with sound words. You're going to use that onomatopoeia that we're learning about last week. And that will take the reader right to where the action is. Look at this picture. What sounds do you think the alien spaceship is making? On the next slide, I've got a list of a whole lot of sound words that you can use to help you. Then I just want you to write the sizzling start. You don't have to write the whole story, just the beginning. Here's an example of what I wrote. Bang! Crash! Beep, beep, beep. What was that? I screamed. I looked out the window. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. There was an enormous alien spaceship in the middle of the road. It looked like a space octopus. Now, have I grabbed your attention? Do you want to read more? Here's a copy of the onomatopoeia or sound words that I was talking about. There's lots of sounds here that you can use to help you with your story beginning. Now remember today, boys and girls, you're not writing a story, you are only writing a sizzling start to match the picture. Well, that's the end of our writing lesson today. So turn off the video and you can write your sizzling start. And can you have it ready for our lesson on Wednesday, because we're going to be looking at everybody's sizzling start. Good morning, boys and girls. It's Wednesday and it's time to complete the second part of our writing lesson on sizzling starts. Our learning intention, we are learning to create sizzling starts in narratives, and our success criteria, I can understand why authors use sizzling starts to begin a narrative. I can identify boring beginnings. I can identify sizzling starts in films. I can write a sizzling start to match a picture. Now this week, I really wanted to use what we learnt last week about onomatopoeia to help us write our stories. So here, I'm just going to go through all these onomatopoeia words. We've got bang, thump, crash, wham, bubble, squeak, purr, woof, zoom, pop, poof, buzz, ribbit, kaplunk, buzz, pow, bam, oops, crackle, yikes, tick-tock, shh, zip, oh, splat, pitter-patter, splash, gurgle, fizz, ah, meow, achoo, sizzle, ouch. Now you might have come up with some more. As you're reading stories, boys and girls, if you see some really good onomatopoeia words, jot them on a piece of paper, and we're going to build a word bank in the back of our classroom of all the different words that we can possibly use in our stories. All right, we're going to do this activity together. So have a look in your folder. You've got a copy of this worksheet. So let's do this together. I was shocked to see a something in my something last night. I wonder what things could be there. I was shocked to see a what. Could it be a monster? Could it be a ghost? What was it? What did you see? Now, where did you see it? Did you see it in a mirror? Did you see it in your window? Did you see it at the door? Can you choose two nouns to put in to complete those sentences? All right, next one. I will never eat another something after what happened at school today. I wonder what happened. Did you eat an apple and find out there was half a worm in it? Ugh. Did you see someone had spaghetti and they had worms crawling in it? Oh my goodness. Can you think of something, a food that you'd never want to eat because something scary or something happened to it? And the last one, on the page, I discovered a new use for my something and my mum was not impressed. What kind of a toy could you use the wrong way that your mum would not be impressed with? Is it a flashlight? Is it your computer? Is it your a game board, something on a game board game? What could it be? Quick, run! The something's getting closer to the something. Oh, okay, that sounds rather exciting. I wonder what's getting closer to something else. Is it a monster? What is it? Is it a vampire? Who knows? Is it a car? Is it a truck? And what's it getting closer to? Can you think of two things to go to complete that sentence. Oh no! The something's escaped from the something again. Oh, that's exciting too. What's escaped? Is it an animal? Has it escaped from a zoo? Is it the ferocious dog next door that's escaped from his yard again? Oh, I hope it's not a snake that's escaped from a basket. That would certainly scare me. And lastly, splash! The something went all over me onto the something. Oh, splash. Well, that sounds like it's a liquid of something. So what could have splashed over me? Is it water? Is it the pool water? Did someone dive bomb into the pool and all the water's gone over to you? Were you at the beach and a wave's crashed onto you and it's gone into all your things and onto the towel as well? Can you think of all the different types of things that could be splashed onto you and what it landed on? All right, so here's our writing task for today. Today you're going to look through the window. I want you to imagine you're looking out the window and you can see something rather strange. Now, we've already seen a spaceship, an alien spaceship, so we're not going to do that one again. So I want you to think of what could be strange and you're going to write a sizzling start about it. Once again, I want you to start with those onomatopoeia words, the sound words, to start where the action really is. Have a look at the side. I've got some 3 strange photos. The first one looks like a budgie, but it's not any ordinary budgie. It's got a lion's head. What sound is that lion saying, I wonder? Instead of hearing a tweet, 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 what sound's coming out of its mouth? The second one, it's an old tree in the garden, but this is not any ordinary old tree. Can you see it's got stairs leading up to it and there's an odd door? I wonder what would happen when the door opened. And the final one, imagine looking up at the sky and seeing a huge whale attached to an aeroplane. Where are they going? And what is the whale doing up in the air? Well, there's just some ideas. I'm sure you can come up with some more strange things. Now, once again, boys and girls, you are only writing a sizzling start. You're not writing the whole narrative. So once you're happy with your sizzling start, it's time to use my 5-tick checklist. Did you start each sentence with a capital letter? Did you finish all your sentences with a full stop? But you might have used exclamation marks or question marks as well. Did you leave finger spaces between your words and write neatly on the lines? Are there any words you're not sure of? Circle them and ask a family member to help you. And lastly, does it make sense? As I always say, read it to someone else. That's a good indication whether it makes sense. Once you've finished and you're really happy with your work, ask someone to take a photo of it and upload it into this week's 3 completed work document. Well, I can't wait to see your sizzling starts for the week.